Target 2 notes, day 2. These two problems left over from yesterday are especially tricky because there are not 2 triangles in each of these pictures, but 3 triangles. There's this little triangle here, there's this entire triangle here, and then there's this sort of one in between also. Okay, you've got the big one, and then you've got the 2 that are contained by the big one. I like to refer to these triangles as the small triangle, the medium triangle, and then the large triangle. And in class, we talked about why all 3 of these triangles are all similar to each other. I'm not going to explain that on this handout here. I'm just going to show you the approach that I recommend for finding the value of x when you've got a diagram like this. Right angles here and there, 3 triangles in the picture, little, medium, and a large triangle there. What I recommend is setting up a table here, okay, with 3 rows in it for small triangle, medium triangle, and large triangle. Okay, and then 3 columns, and across the top row of these columns I'm going to put short leg, long leg, and hypotenuse. Okay. Every one of these triangles is a right triangle. That's going to be true in the next problem too. It's always going to be true when we've got this sort of 3 triangle thing going on here. So every right triangle has 2 legs and a hypotenuse. One leg is going to look shorter than the other. So I got a short leg and a long leg and then a hypotenuse. So in the small triangle right here, I'm just going to fill this grid in with everything that I know about this small triangle. In this small triangle, here's the short leg, here's the long leg, here's the hypotenuse. I'm calling the short leg x. I'm going to fill that in the table. The long leg I know nothing about. I'm not given a value, and I'm not much interested in finding its value. I have no variable for it. I'm just going to leave it blank. The hypotenuse of this little triangle is also blank. I'm going to leave that blank. Now go down to the medium triangle, which is this triangle up here. So try to block the little triangle out from your vision now and just concentrate on the medium triangle. If there's a right angle here, there's certainly a right angle there. Okay, and here's your shorter leg, which is blank. So I will leave short leg blank. Here's the longer leg, which is 12. So in long leg, I'll put 12. And then the hypotenuse of this medium triangle is 15. Fill that in the table. Now let's consider the large triangle, the whole thing. Okay? That large triangle has a short leg here, a long leg there, and the hypotenuse is this whole thing. The short leg is blank, so I will leave short leg blank for the large triangle. For the large triangle, the long leg is 15. And for the large triangle, the hypotenuse is this whole thing, 12 plus x. Now, after you fill in everything that you can fill in this table, there will be 2 columns that have 2 values in them. This column does, and this column does. And that's where you can get your ratios from. Guaranteed, these 2 triangles are similar to each other. These 2 are similar, those 2 are similar, these 2 are similar, so it doesn't matter what rows and columns your values end up in, but you need 2 rows and 2 columns where you actually have corresponding values. And now you can write an equation. This is the only box that has an x in it, so I like to start with that in my numerator, 12 plus x. And that corresponds to this 15. Then the other ratio, since I started the first ratio with the bottom value, I'm going to start the second ratio with the bottom value, 15 over 12. Okay? So once again, 12 plus x over 15, that came from this over that. and then this over that, 15 over 12. Multiply both sides by 15. To cancel that out, I get 12 plus x is equal to, this is going to be whatever it is, 225 divided by 12 is about, let's see, 1 1/4, 3, I think I'm going to go with 18.75. I think that's right. Whatever the calculator tells you. And now subtract 12 from both sides, and we get x is equal to 6.75. I might have been wrong in my mental math there. If so, you can correct me, but I think I'm correct. Okay. Number 9, very same situation, same exact approach. Make 3 rows, one for a small triangle, one for a medium triangle, one for a large triangle. You have to label the rows. Sometimes I see students making grids. They don't put the labels down, so they don't know what they're filling in. You have to put labels up here. I need 3 columns. I need short leg, long leg, and hypotenuse. Okay? So let's go to the small triangle and work our way around the small triangle. It's over here on the left. Try to block the big triangle out of your view. The small triangle has a shorter leg of 9, a longer leg of x, and the hypotenuse is blank. So I'm going to fill in that row of the table. 9x blank. Short leg, long leg, hypotenuse. 9x blank. Short leg, long leg, hypotenuse. 9x blank. Now go to the medium triangle. That's the other one that is contained within the large triangle. So block out the small triangle and find the medium one. Here's the short leg, the longer leg, here's the hypotenuse. So the short leg is x, the long leg is 36, the hypotenuse is blank. Already we can see we have 2 rows and 2 columns with matching values, corresponding values. We could quit right there and start writing an equation, but just for thoroughness, let's go fill in this row of the table from the large triangle and just see what we get. Here's the large triangle. The short leg is blank, so that's blank. The long leg of the big triangle is also blank. The hypotenuse is 36 plus 9 is 45. Okay, well we can see that row and that column didn't really help us any. We had what we needed, so I can start writing ratios. I'll write x over 36 equals 9 over x. Now that might look a little funny to you, that we've got an x in 2 completely different places, but look, the x represents the long leg of the small triangle, but it's the short leg of the medium triangle. So this one side being shared by 2 triangles actually stands for 2 different things, and it shows up twice in the equation. When we cross multiply now, x times x is x squared, and we have 9 times 36, which is 324. So now take the square root of both sides to find the value of x. In this case, it turns out to be a nice whole number 18. That won't always be the case, but it is this time. So once again, when you have this kind of situation, and what I mean by this kind of situation is a right triangle, a big right triangle, with a line dividing that right triangle into 2 other right triangles. Here's the line that divides the big right triangle into 2 other right triangles. And you end up with 3 right triangles in the picture. And then it can be quite confusing to figure out how things match up with each other. I think this table gives you a really nice methodical way of finding out how things match up with each other so you can set up a good equation. Because if you don't set up a good equation, you will not find the correct value of x to this problem.